basically about 2 weeks after I got cleared hot, fully accredited, guy came in. He was, an older 91-year-old guy.
Wow.
With his wife and his older daughter, and he breaks out this little folder that's got these like carbon copy DD-214s, like the little, and I'm like, what is this? And I start looking at it, 1952, 1950, like old school, like he was in the Korean War as a Marine infantry guy. He did 1 tour in Korea, 2 tours in Vietnam, and he comes in and he's pretty much coherent. I mean, you could definitely tell he's got a little bit of dementia, and he's really trying to hold on to the memories, but he's just happy to still be alive. And I'm like, God, we ended up able to get him for the very first time, right out the gate. We took him from nothing to 100%. Got him.
Wow.
Got him up there, and they backdated him because a lot of it was Agent Orange, so they backdated it to early 2022. So he got, not a ton of money, but to him, I mean, it was life-changing.
Battle Line Podcast, second appearance by Chris Whittemore on this episode. Marine. I always feel like, is it Whitmore or Whittemore? I don't know. So
I thought it was Whitmore, but it might be Whittemore the way it's spelled. I thought it was Chris will tell us.
It probably is, but yeah, Marine Scout Sniper, 18 years of service, including several combat deployments. First wrote this book, Terror to Triumph, and now has Terror to Triumph 2. So I think you guys are going to like this interview a lot. Man, you know what, before we get to the interview, I was going to say real quick, we have so many listeners from all over the country. We spoke about this in the last Q&A episode. So if we have any listeners in Hawaii who are impacted by what's going on there with the wildfires, prayers for you guys. I mean, we talk about in this episode, we'll talk about the government mishandling things, and I feel like they're completely dropping the ball on this one when I hear that they're giving families like $700 in a state that's like more expensive to live than any other state. It's $700 I know could help people in some areas of the country, like that could pay their rent for a month. Not in Hawaii. Hawaii is more expensive to live in than New York or California. So hopefully if any of you are impacted, prayers for you guys out there.
Yeah, God bless y'all. And I just remember this guy. I think we forget these things when it's time to vote and time to go and elect people for offices. Remember, guys, what's going on. And I'm with you, man. Money, and you see all the memes and all that out there, money going to Ukraine and not going to, well, there is some truth to that. And Hawaii is, last I checked, one of the 50 states for United States of America, and they should be getting taken care of, and they're not again. So they're not. They're some other state. We had the train wreck, and now in Ohio, and now we've got, and the United States is not stepping up to take care of their own. So I'm glad you mentioned it, because I don't watch the news a whole bunch, but I'm seeing that. And being somebody who was left behind by their own government, and not even on that grand a scale, I feel for you guys. So, if I was president, believe me, I'd be helping you. I promise you that. And that's my next campaign slogan. Yeah. I got too many skeletons in the closet, man. I would never make it. No way. No way.
And I feel the same. I'll never be in politics, but I just wanted to mention that. I wanted to mention also real quick, we have another Q&A episode coming up. So any questions for us, battlelinepodcast@gmail.com, anything you've ever wanted to ask us. And then actually I was on a call with him today for something completely unrelated, but I did see friend of the show, Luke Ryan, just got engaged to Kenna, who actually was there when he did the first podcast with us in studio. So they've been dating a long time. I mean, we've been doing this show just about 4 years. He was one of the first episodes. So congrats to Luke.
Yeah, congrats.
He's actually doing some stuff independently now. Like, I don't know if you guys know, Luke recently left Black Rifle Coffee, and he's now like freelancing social media for a bunch of different businesses. And that's actually why I hit him up, because I need him to help out with my stuff with Adam with Nidus. And then I was like, maybe you could help us out with this podcast, because I said to him, just truthfully, I was like, I think we have a pretty fucking good podcast, and maybe you'll beat that out because it's at the front of the show, Harold. But I feel like we have a pretty effing good podcast, and I don't think we, get the right amount of listenership for what we're doing. And he was like, I agree, and maybe you'll be able to help us out with that, because I enjoy what we're doing. I do think there are podcasts that are outdoing us in terms of the streams And I wonder what we're doing wrong, what we could be doing better. And there's always room to improve. But anyway, I don't want to take up too much time. Before we get to this interview, we actually do talk about CBD in depth during the interview. And both of us, of course, big proponents of CBD, big proponents of magnesium supplements. With over 700 5-star customer reviews, Ned's Mellow Magnesium is an instant hit. Nourish your entire body with Ned's proprietary super blend with 3 forms of chelated magnesium, GABA, L-theanine, and over 70 trace minerals. It propels memory, mood, brain function, stress response, nerve and muscle health, and of course, sleep. And about 75% of Americans are deficient in it. Great supplement. Also, man, I love the Brain Blend if you want to check that one out for the CBD, because it's great. It's a nootropic mixed with CBD, so it's great for your brain functioning as well as sleep, as well as alleviating any pain or any of that stuff you have. And yeah, we get in depth with that with Chris. So Ned's Mellow Magnesium is now available on Amazon, but you'll get the best deal through us as a first-time customer when you go to helloned.com/battleline or add the code battleline at checkout. That's HELLONED.com/battleline. And with that, let's get right over to Chris. I said Quiz. You don't have to edit that out. Chris Whittemore.
From Kansas City to New York City, from planet Earth to extraterrestrial life in space, a podcast with no equal, engaged in unconventional warfare through your speakers and headphones. This is a show about embracing the suck, conquering your demons, and finding God in the face of adversity. Chris Tonto Peranto.
Switch is on. Motherfucker, I'm gonna shoot you in the face.
Ian Scotto.
You know, Ian and I have been dating for a long time.
You are now tuned into the Battle Line Podcast.
The Switch is on, Battleline Podcast, and back on the podcast for the second time is a guy I really enjoyed having on, honestly, Chris Whittemore, Marine Scout Sniper, 18 years of service, including several combat deployments. Just 2 of them, though, were Ramadi, Iraq in 2005, Fallujah, Iraq in 2007. So if you guys, after this want to check out the first interview, it was episode 136, talking about this book, Terror to Triumph, which, side note, I remember saying to you, I was like, this is such a badass cover. And then you got the shirt made by Grunt Style based on the cover. And I was like, it makes sense. It's a great cover. And now you have this book, Terror to Triumph 2, which truthfully is a totally different book. I mean, this is your memoir, and the new book, Terror to Triumph 2, is poetry, and poetry about combat, poetry about the VA, poetry about struggles people have with addiction. There are poems in there about 9/11, and I thought you did a great job, because of the fact that a book like this, you really have to spend a ton of time getting right. And I feel like the new book is more you just getting these feelings out in short poems. And, although the subject matter may be tough, it's an easy read in terms of you could just pick this up and read through the poems pretty quickly. And they're well done, man. You did a good job.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. It was, but yeah, most definitely the first one took, probably a year of back and forth and all that stuff. The second book, believe it or not, I've been writing poems on and stuff like that for a while, and I came across this this box that I had and all these different notepads from deployments and stuff like that, and started flipping through them, and I'm like, and so sent a few feelers out to people. I'm like, oh, what do you think of these? What do you think of those? And they really liked them. I was like, I'm going to put them in a book. Let's flip the script completely. A lot of them, my goal was not to just write, just the all military stuff, but I wanted to throw some of the poems out there for, like life lessons, military, like you said, military VA. The addiction recovery one actually, and that's the craziest one out of all of them that are in there. That's the I don't even know how or why that even happened, but my wife, who is a behavioral health therapist up at an addiction facility up in Canyon Lake, about an hour away from here, lost one of her clients that she was super close with. She left the rehab center where she works. About 30 days later, succumbed to the demons, overdosed on heroin and fentanyl, and ended up passing away. Wife took it really hard. Came home, started talking to my wife about it, trying to help her get through it. And then all of a sudden, she lays down to try and take a power nap, and I'm like, and just start thinking about like going to the VA, the pharmacy, the bags full of pills that we all remember so well. The pill mill, and it just kind of came flooding out. And that last poem was actually written in about 30 minutes. And it's just been, it was really rewarding to get all of that out, to kind of clear my head. Some of them came out at like 3 a.m. I like woke up and I had to like write some stuff down because I couldn't go back to sleep. It just woke me up out of the blue, and I'm like, what is this? And it's crazy talking to some of the guys I know who've written songs and stuff. I'm like, does this happen to you guys, like when you're writing songs? And they're like, all the time. I'm like, well, I hope it stops, because I don't want to get up at 3 a.m, to start like writing stuff. But it's it's been a wild journey since the last time I was on here with you guys. And the best part is, though, the Wi-Fi and internet are 800 times better here, and there's not going to be any freezes or drops or anything like that. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, thank you guys so much for having me on a second time, especially.
Nah, it's an honor. And you can't see it really, but there it is right there. There's my signed books that I really do cherish. Not that I don't cherish all the signed books I have, everybody out there. I don't piss anybody off, but I have like 2 tough box fulls. But if you can see the little red sliver, there's Chris's poems. But hey, buddy, when you're writing those things, you talk about your wife going through and losing a client, or I didn't say client, but what do you call it? Losing a patient, or I guess she would call it a confidant more than anything. What about your own addictions? And I don't know if we really got into much of that, or if you even had any. But I'm saying you may have, whether it be, I'm not saying illegal, but prescription. We all have, as far as the VA goes. As far as taking antidepressants or painkillers, whatever it is, whether it's Oxy or Demerol or something like that, to help ease the pain, whether mentally or physically. When you're writing that stuff, were your own past addictions, were they coming up? And I want to hear what you were thinking, because I think there's a lot of veterans out there that want to hear, hey, yeah, it's wife and he wrote it because of her, but what about him? Because if he was going through it and they were helping him, maybe this is something I should do to exorcise the demons, literally and figuratively. That's not, it's not self-destructive.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I always love to share the pass the light to others and kind of keep the light off me most of the time. But that is a great question. I know after every deployment, coming back from Iraq, Afghanistan, all the highs, lows, everything in that first book, there was a huge problem. There wasn't, and I think I even put a little bit in the book, there wasn't many nights where I didn't see the bottom of a bottle just to sleep, because I couldn't. There was, the pills, the Ambien, the like all that crap that the docs would throw at us on the plane ride over, the plane ride back. And it was a mess getting out, going through the med board process. It was a pill mill. I had a bunch of surgeries, and the back surgery started out with the back steroid pain injections. Then it went to, here's the Norco, here's the this pill, that pill, of course the Motrin 800 milligrams Skittles. It's that does everything that's just wonderful for everybody. And then in the VA at one point, or no, check that. Before I got out, the military had me on, oh my God, meloxicam, Neurontin, PTSD, insomnia pills, sleeping pills. I think I was on like 8 or 9 pills.
Wow.
For years. And when I finally got out, I really wanted to cut back, because it was wake up, take a handful of pills to go to sleep, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And all you become is like numb. You can't feel anything.
Well, you're a
which I guess
zombie.
is-
You literally are zombie apocalypse. You know, people say, oh, you were going to have a zombie apocalypse. Well, we actually are in one with having people take pills, because you're in a daze. I remember being in a daze all the time too. That's why I had to I was like, I can't live like this. I'm leveled out, but I'm drugged up 24/7, or I'm hungover because I helped assist with. You're spot on. I keep going, bro. I'm in agreement with you completely, and that's I got another question. I got to follow up after you finish, because I got another thing on that.
And I think just like you said, coming out of that haze, I think it just came to me, I was like, God, I've got to change this up. I'm 30 pounds plus over what I normally weigh. I'm sitting around lethargic, watching TV, not doing anything, eating crap, drinking, and I'm just ballooning up. And I was like, God, like pre-COVID, oh my God, I was probably 218, 220. During the COVID thing, dropped down to and maintaining about 180 to 185, because all I do is work out. I'm in pain with my knees, my back. It's one of those things. I had a great time, great career, did some things that I probably regret now, carrying all that weight. I know you in the special ops community carried a lot of weight as well, which who knew that was bad for your knees and back. And so now I'm going through the pain injections. I've gone through 3 rounds of cortisone in the knees. Just had my 2nd round of gel shots in the knees. Next up is the PRP, but the doc wants to say, yeah, we're going to give you these shots, but here, check out this. And I could just see him start scribbling on his little script pad. And I'm like, you might as well stop, because I'm not going to take them. And I would rather be in pain, but be able to still like feel and do things and be a normal, not a zombie, than to, I'm not going to be in pain, but who wants to live in that shell of a life again? Like, I definitely don't. And, now I'm, a football official for high school and college, at the Division 2 and 3, the lower level. But I swear, the older I get, the faster they get. But it's great. It's great. Overcoming and getting out of that fog was liberating. I hate to use that word for it, but it was so liberating to no longer be controlled by, I'm leaving the VA with a grocery bag full of different pills. And I'm like, this is stupid. Or you get them in the mail and your whole mailbox is packed full of like these prescriptions. And I'm like, what am I doing? And my wife and I talk about it. I'm like, this has got to stop. So I cut, I'm only on 2. I was on 8. I'm down to only being on 2. None of them are the heavy duty, like narcotic pain pills or anything like that. They're just the PTSD mental medicine. And then the, of course, have the Motrin on standby if I need the, you got
to have the acetaminophen or the what's the ibuprofen. That's
Tylenol.
As long as you're not taking 20 of those, dude. I can't take ibuprofen anymore or the Motrin because I have Crohn's disease, but I can still take Tylenol. Oh yeah,
and shameless plug, you can still take Ned CBD.
I want to take Ned CBD. That does
promo code
CBD. The CBD does help. I ain't gonna lie, it does in the pain rub. And I know we're throwing them, but I do take that stuff as well, or just say take. I ingest it and then I rub that stuff on wherever I do have some soreness instead of the icy hot. But really, I think you're right. Cause when I was hopped up on all those, especially the anti-anxiety, antidepressant pills, you just feel like life's just going by, and you're just missing it, and you don't care. And it's supposed to help you come up, or it's supposed to help you bring you down. Honestly, why did we join? We joined because we love that roller. That's what we wanted.
It's true.
So why do I want to live like this? I got off it as quickly as I could, and it was difficult. And
that's so well said too. That's so well said.
Well, thanks, buddy. And I guess my question is, to get off that, I struggled for a little bit to get off that. I did, because then sometimes I would be way too high, and I had to figure out how to calm that down. And I had to get back to working out. That's what did it. Physical fitness. Is that what got you back to where, once you started to wean yourself off of it, we do hit those nights, those demons really hit us hard. But instead of going back to the pills, what did you do to not go back to the pills, especially when those demons hit? Well, you said 3 a.m, you started to write. What else did you do? Or was that what you did? That's what I did. 3 a.m, those demons are hitting. I'm writing it down. This is constructive. It's positive, and I'm not taking those pills anymore. Or did you do other things aside from that? Like myself, I worked out. I get up and run at 3 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. That's what I do. So, yeah. What was your experience when you're trying to wean off those antidepressants, and those anti-anxiety, post-traumatic stress pills, I guess is what we can call them, PTSPs?
The bag full of stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, it was a lot of writing was the big thing. And I'm actually due to my new job, I'm working on a third book as well, a few chapters in already. So that's going to be coming out pretty soon. But yeah, it was writing, and for a long time, I started to get into that. Oh, my knees, my back hurts. I can't run. That whole feel sorry for yourself thing.
Yeah.
And start, like you said, those demons, they were like grabbing at me, and I'm like, all right, I can't run because it hurts, but what can I do? And so my wife's like, you know what? We're surrounded by military bases that all have giant pools, and you always love to swim.
Yeah.
So now I'll go before work, usually about 4 days a week, hit the pool at lunch, and swim 10-15 laps or whatever, just to burn some calories, energy. And it's made a world of difference. I sometimes will get caught up, like I think a lot of people do, in here comes another limitation. But it's really hard to say, you know what, yeah, that's a limitation, but look what else I can do now.
Yeah.
And things like, I never was, let's go to the pool and swim laps. But now that that's my source and something I enjoy, it's no longer, I can't run. It's like, yes, let's go swim some laps and burn some energy. And truth be told, coming out of the pool, I've never been so exhausted like that, leaving a gym, throwing weights around. Like the pool I tell my wife all the time, because we watch these different shows, I'm like, water is a great equalizer. Like it will, it'll teach you a quick lesson really fast. And I absolutely love swimming though. And that seems to be helping the back, the knees. It's not, do I want to go out there and hit the trails and run miles and miles and miles like I did before? Of course. But now I realize, like, I'm on the bubble for that double knee replacement, because it's all just bone on bone at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I want to be in pain, or do I want to still be able to work out and enjoy myself? Pretty easy decision. But it's I think the biggest thing that would help anyone is find that passion, even if it's something different, like, for like you and I and others, the kicking in the doors, being the first in, CQB stuff is done. I mean, leave that for the young guns, the little 21-year-olds who are like coming out of high school, they're ready to go. And you don't have to reinvent yourself, but I mean, find something that you've never done before. You're like, skiing, or like sled hockey, or, swimming, biking, like whatever. And just like grab onto that and just become a better version of yourself. Get off those damn pills and just start enjoying life again outside of that fog. Because at that point, I think that takes care of the mental part. Once you're out of the fog and you're enjoying life, I think that starts to pushed down. Yeah, the demons are still there. The demons are still going to be there. I mean, I've got a
Yeah.
whole book full of them,
Yeah.
but I really think being active and out of that fog the pills provide, it lets you escape mentally. It lets you escape that fog physically and mentally. And that's when you can really start living that productive life.
Were you able to, when you wanted to get off the pills, and were you able to find the right doctors who were supportive of that? Because I can tell you, for me, right, I have a totally different background than you guys. I'm not former military, but I've discussed this on the podcast. There was actually just a dark point in my life that I was going through. Believe it or not, truly, some of the stuff Chris has said prior to us doing this podcast inspired me at that time. But I did go to a therapist for about a year. He did have me do a psychiatric evaluation, and in my head, I was like, this guy's going to put me on something, and I don't want that. And truthfully, after I went through it, the guy was like, you have a depression that a lot of other people go through. He goes, I could prescribe you something right now, but if you don't want to, then I'm not going to. And that actually made me feel great that it wasn't in no way it was being pushed on me. And it made me trust the therapist I was seeing more, because I was like, all right, you're not trying to force something on me. And within about a year, I was less than a year, really, I got back to myself, but I didn't have any desire to work out. I even took a blood test, and my testosterone levels were super low. Like, when you're in that funk, man, you don't want to do anything. So I could relate to that as much as I can't relate to the combat stuff. But were any of the VA doctors or anyone in general telling you, like, no, you need to be on all this?
Coming off or lowering the dose. And it was, I wanted to just cold turkey drop it, and the doctors were like, absolutely not. Which was probably smart. I think if I would have just boom, threw them all in the trash and just cold turkey, would have been like way worse.
Yeah, the withdrawals are terrible. I mean, you watch those rehab shows, and where people will go to jail and have to stop taking that stuff. Like, it's hell.
Yeah, but a lot of some doctors were, but a lot of doctors were, well, if it's been working, you should really take the full dose. You shouldn't take it down, but if you want to take it down, that's your choice, but we're not going to recommend it. So I really had to kind of like force myself in a way to say, yeah, the full pill is there, but let's take half and see what happens. And then when I realized, okay, I could take half, then a little while long. So I had to stair step myself down. But a lot of doctors, and I don't want to, bash all the doctors or whatever that are out there doing good things, but it's a bureaucracy, especially in we'll talk about this soon, I'm sure, in my new role. You really see the other side of the VA, and it's not a business where they're all trying to raise up that pharmaceutical guy, that next guy in line, but it's very much, they want to have a clear conscience. So if they need to give you 30 pills, they're going to give you 30 different pills, then have that one guy who like goes off like far right. And no one wants to see the guy go far off right, but maybe a lot of that has to do with the abundance of pills, and then they won't refill a prescription. Now you've got withdrawals, and now you go out on the street and you're looking for a medication to make you feel as good as you were in the cycle. And it's a very brutal cycle that I get to see, unfortunately, a lot. You just see a lot of guys spitting out, and it's usually a direct result. Or when I was with the Veterans Treatment Court, a lot of it was the hey, I need this medication, I need the methadone, I need this, I need to go out to these like fly by night where you can go and pay cash for these doctors to give you the methadone shot, just so you can. And it's just sad, it's tragic. And there was only one place that those vets were going, and I was right to jail, or right down into like the pits of hell. And thankfully, the majority of them pulled themselves up, but it was a fight, and a lot of them had to go inpatient and suffer through those withdrawals like you were talking about, and just go through absolute hell. But now they seem to be doing really well, so that's great to see as well.
Israel Matos is a good buddy of mine, a Marine that served in Afghanistan, and actually saved a couple of his buddies by pushing him out of the way and jumping in front of a donkey. It was a donkey ID, actually. I can't remember which province it was. I think it was up near coast. So, but he mentioned something to me when he came training, that you know, he had multiple surgeries on his knee was jacked, his leg. I mean, he was blown up. His leg was jacked up. And he said Florida now with the oxy, they would only give him just and it wasn't enough to numb the pain. And I know because I was on oxy when I had ripped my quad in half, and man, the first week there wasn't enough Oxycontin. No, there was. It hurt. It was so much pain. But Florida did it, and they've and help correct. I could be wrong, guys. Just do your fact checking out there. But Israel told me that just even recently, because he still had to have multiple surgeries and he's still in a lot of pain, that because of the overuse of oxy and other narcotics, prescription narcotics, that Florida is now minimized, where now they don't give enough. You can't. He said, I was getting maybe 2 pills a week. No, I was like, holy shit. The first time I know, I was like, I'm correct. I may be off on that, but I know it was not even near what I needed to take that first week, where I think I was, and I gotta look at my prescription, but it was just a small percentage of what I was really taking, what I was taking out there. So going into this, and you're talking about this, you know, where guys are not getting their refills or not getting enough pills. I think some are getting too much.
Yeah.
What's the answer? I mean, because now the VA, because I'm hearing is some VAs overdo it, and then there's others that are not doing enough. How do we fix that? Is it fixable? What do we do? Because what I heard from him, that was horseshit. And Florida's pretty. I love Florida. I think Florida is the one state that actually is doing things right in this United States of America. But when I heard that from the VA system, where they're limiting painkillers for people that really need them based off their surgeries, who's making those decisions? Is it somebody saying, oh, hey, his knee surgery only involved this, so he only gets 3,200 milligrams per week? And how's that determination made?
You know, I think it's made by the health administration, the VHA, and weirdly enough, there's the VHA and the VBA, and even though they're the same entity, just two different branches, neither one of them talk to each other. It's
Shocker.
like two hands like floating off into space. Like the right hand has no idea what the left hand, and vice versa. And I'm like, it's dumbfounding. But honestly, and I know there's a ton of research and opinions on this stuff, but I really think it's not so much the holistic approach that's needed, but there's got to be an alternative to the the pills. Like if CBD oil works or CBD stuff works, then I mean, why are we not using it? Why is it like a taboo? And I know the VA down here in Texas, even the mention of CBD, or if guys who came into the Veterans Treatment Court, the criminal justice system, or on probation, CBD makes them pop, and they can get violated for using CBD oil. So now they're off CBD oil that was working for them. Now they're in pain again. Weird that they're drinking and going back to the street.
Yeah.
And it's such a, and I really think, and I've heard nothing but good things about the CBD products. And I'm like, why are we not using that if it's working for pain? And, for one bottle of CBD oil, I don't know how much it costs, but I mean, how much does pumping out, those 30 count of Motrin or 30 counts of Norco or 30 count? I mean, there's got, and I really hope it's not about money, but if it is, then God, VA, look at the CBD oil and look at what you could really do for this type of, for all these vets. And I think honestly, that would be a huge solution to this opioid epidemic.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying this interview with Chris Whittemore, author of Terror to Triumph 2. Before we continue, Fort Scott Munitions is a manufacturer of multi-federal patented solid copper and brass CNC spun ammunition. It's designed to tumble upon impact in soft tissue, leaving devastating wound channels for faster bleed out and quicker incapacitation. This ammunition was originally developed to innovate and improve on the standard of military-grade ammunition design. It was found that not only did the TUI ammunition outperform competitors in the self-defense industry, but it quickly became apparent that it would be a top contender for hunters alike. With the ammunition being CNC spun, the tolerances are some of the tightest on the market, ensuring that you receive the same results with each pull of the trigger. Go to FSM.com. Use the promo code BattleLine. You'll get 20% off, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's ammo, hats, any of that cool stuff. Some of the bigger gear, you'll get a discount. It might not be 15% off, but yeah, just check it out. FSM.com, promo code BattleLine. Best ammo on the market. Fort Scott Munitions is a proud supporter of Chris Peranto, Battleline Tactical, and the Battleline podcast. Also, longtime sponsor of us, Photonis Defense. So glad to have them continuing to stay on board with us. You could speak to this. They are the best night vision out there. You've been training people on it with Phil Otto. We'll Phil back on the show soon, but
Yep.
they're tremendous.
Guys, you know, they talk about auto gating. If you don't know what that is, look it up. But it's basically the ability for that night vision to refocus it at high speeds. So at least by our eyesight, high speeds. So when you're looking at something at night, you can see it clear, and you want to be able to see it clear quickly. It'll help you if you're a hunter. Of course, it's going to help you if you're still a tactician kicking indoors. You want the best quality night vision out there. And Photonis is. You want the ability to be able to go home at night after an operation. So, guys, if you're in charge of a police department, you're with the military, look at Photonis Defense. You want your people to go home at night. You want your people to have the best gear. Photonis is the best night vision by far out there. There's nobody even close. So get with them. If you're just an avid hunter, go grab it, guys. You're going to see a world of difference when you go out shooting hogs, coyotes, whatever you do with your night vision. It's tremendous. So Photonis Defense, and with Phil's a good dude. We wouldn't be with Photonis Defense if they didn't have integrity up in their top head shed, and they do. As all our companies that are with us do. So Photonis is amazing. Look at them, get your night vision from them, and for you military and law enforcement types, put your people in them so they can come home at night, guys. It's best out there.
Yeah, check them out. So now you can have the superpower to see in the dark with the Viper Binocular Night Vision System by Photonis Defense, which is the global leader in night vision solutions, providing more high-quality night vision capabilities than anyone. Military, law enforcement, and public safety end users utilize Photonis Defense solutions to give them the edge at night in tactical situations and rescue operations. Hunters, shooters, boaters, and enthusiasts can rely on the Photonis Defense Viper Binocular to become masters of darkness. The new Viper Binocular system carries the same features and benefits as the Photonis Defense Viper Monocular with a ruggedized body and harnesses the power of the Echo Intensifier tubes, giving you sharper images, reduced halo, and industry-leading ultra-fast auto-gating across the range of dynamic operating conditions. Visit PhotonisDefense.com for more information. That's simply PHOTONIS defense.com, PhotonisDefense.com, or look for Photonis Defense product options from your night vision dealer. And now let's get back to our interview with Marine Scout Sniper Chris Whittemore. Yeah. And
just
I was going to say on the more like alternative side of the spectrum, I guess you would put it, in your state, I know that like Dan Crenshaw has been pushing for veterans who need to take psychedelics, who want to take like mushrooms, or I don't know if it's like ayahuasca and that type of stuff. And I know to some people it'd be like, that sounds crazy. But I mean, personally, is just me. I mean, I'd be for an all of the above approach, depending on who the person is. And I mean, truly anything that's going to stop guys from killing themselves, I'm into looking at, why not?
Absolutely. Or, I mean, and there's ways to monitor it. I mean, if it guys are on probation, I mean, if the VA needs to, if they're like, hey, we're going to not give you a 30 count of Motrin, but we're going to give you a bottle of CBD oil. And then for the first like 2 months or whatever, we're going to do, like spot checks with your blood work and like urinalysis, and just to make sure it's not being abused or taken to the, too much or taken to a dangerous level, and just monitor how it's going. And I think because I remember, and I'm sure you do as well, you guys as well, on that Norco, it was like, like taking one and then you're watching the clock. You're like, okay, when can I take the next one? When can I take the next one? And, and then you run out and you're like, shit, doc, the bottle spilled, or the dog ate my homework, anything you could think of. And then you were shit out of luck. And I was like, then of course, here I am looking in the medicine cabinet. I'm like, what does my wife have for pain that she just got done? So I'm looking for this code, the Tylenol 3 codeine. I'm looking for the just whatever would work. And I'm just like, you know, to give up all of that and have to go through that addiction and that just beat down, that personal beat down to change it up for a bottle of oil or a patch or whatever. I mean, that'd be amazing. And I think, and I don't know, I've never used it, but is CBD like a like super addictive where you constantly
No,
are like,
No,
you know,
no,
when
not
that's
at
the
all.
thing, the Ned, and that's what I was looking up on my phone here is the Ned, my bottle's $45 for 300 milligrams, which is for a month. That's a month's worth of, which is nothing. I mean, there's one pill that costs, but now you can get in different dosages, which can be stronger, but the CBD that I use and the ones that we would recommend, they take I don't know what it is, but the hallucinogenic properties they take out of it. So
Yeah.
you're not getting high. You don't want I don't want that. Why do I want to go to, and that's why I'm not into going to a natural drug like shrooms or smoking pot, because it's turning me into that. I can't zombie. And I've smoked weed. I've taken shrooms before. Maybe back in the day, back when I was back in my, and there, yeah, when I did, we were at a party. I'm at a party. I'm hanging out. I'm drinking. I'm smoking. That was back when I was playing college ball. Not that I did that in college ball either, but maybe I did a little bit in college. But that's what kids used to do in college, and now they protest and they become they become activists, and they don't have fun anymore. But that was back in the good old days in college. But I said you did it but that's not what I want from CBD oil. I want it just to really just take the edge off, but not to where I'm a zombie. And also
Exactly.
it does help the the secondary properties. It does definitely help the anti-inflammation. I mean, the inflammation, it's anti-inflammatory. So not only am I getting the edge off the anxiety or depression, but also my knees feel better. My elbows feel better because all that my Crohn's disease is in check. It's been in remission forever and I can say a lot of that's the CBD, but I guess, you know, with the VA system, I think a lot of it, and there's people that disagree with me. On the show, they've disagreed with me. I think it is money. I think it is the pharmaceutical companies making a buttload of money. I think and I think it's also, they got to keep us in check, brother. You can't have guys that know how to do the shit we do coming unglued because America's going to, or they think America's going to. And I do think, and maybe I'll be labeled a conspiracy theorist. That's fine. But I do think there is, hey, we got to keep these guys in line, man. If we don't, you got a bunch of trained motherfuckers out there that there's a lot of us out there. Just give me an excuse. Just give me a fucking,
absolutely.
But we also know that we don't want to go that route because we've seen the devastation and destruction, and that if wars cause, you've been in Fallujah, Ramadi. What do they not have in Ramadi and Fallujah is when you went in, what did we do? We destroyed the infrastructure. No water, no toilets, no electricity. I don't want that. I want to shit in my, I don't, but I do think that there is money, but I also think there's a sense of control too with veterans and keeping us when we're allowing them to do that by keeping us in a zombie-like state, unless you can, like yourself or myself, find other avenues where I don't want to be there. I want to be like this again, but I also want to be in control because we got to have an outlet, because in the military, we did have an outlet. We could go kick in a door. There's my outlet right there. Going, or I'm going to shoot, or I'm going to blow something up. What's my outlet now? My outlet's physical training. Your outlet's physical training and writing and officiating. Mine is taking my kids out and goofing around. You know, I have other outlets, but am I way off thinking that? Because I've been watching this for years now, and this is really the first time where I've said this conspiracy theory thing. I do feel that way a little bit. I do feel like there's a control. Like, we got to keep these guys in control. Well, how do we do that? We keep them in a zombie-like state and now they're dependent on us because they're dependent on these pills. They're not getting off them. Because I see a lot of veterans that have become dependent on these damn pills, and they're not finding other avenues where they should. We know how to do that. Or you can say, Chris, you got a dick growing out of your forehead. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, I think you're absolutely right on that one. I think it is. I mean, they have to justify their existence, and if they don't have the I don't want to call it the zombie line, but the people going in and out of that pharmacy. And I mean, even I went to the doctor the other day for a checkup. I had to go pick up like a refill at the pharmacy, and the waiting room was just packed full of all these young, and I call them young kids. I mean, I'm only 47, but like all these like young, like I mean, early on service members are just, every seat is filled, and they're just waiting in line for the next fix. And I'm like, God, like these pharmacies are the modern day legalized drug dealers. I mean, I mean, it's unbelievable, like what is happening. And then of course the VA, now that I'm out of the Veterans Treatment Court, one of the it was a great decision because it was time to, like, I enjoyed helping vets through that process, and I still give them advice constantly, but I knew that I wanted to do something more, or I had that 3-year itch where I'm like, okay, I need to go somewhere else. I need to like keep fresh. I can't get stagnant in a job. So I went over to the county side where we help vets, active duty service members, and all that stuff file VA claims, so they don't have to go through the VA. They don't have to go through the out here, the Texas Vet Commission, the DAV, the Purple Hearts, Green Beret. I mean, there's so many organizations. But I can tell you, I was busy at the VTC. It's another level of busy, helping with VA claims. And now I go over and talk to the service members on the bases as they're transitioning out, so they can do their VA claim before they even pick up their DD-214. And, you know, I even go over there and even though my boss doesn't like me to do this because he thinks I'm taking time away from something else, but I go talk to like the med board guys, because I went through the med board when I got out.
And
so
just not to interrupt you, but because I know you were saying you transitioned to a different job. So what is it exactly is it that you do other than the football officiating?
I'm now a Bexar County veteran service officer, which means I'm basically accredited through the VA, through DAV, through TVC, Texas Vet Commission, through the national accreditation for county veteran service officers. I'm like a freaking therapist with 1,000 initials after their name. But now I actually can sit down, walk these people for every claim there is, appeals, increases, new claims. The worst ones, of course, are when the surviving spouses come in. Or the moms, you know, come in. We handle the survivor benefits, the burial allowance.
That's huge, dude. That is so fucking huge. I wish I would have had somebody like you. I did finally 10 years later find somebody like you to help me with my claim, but I didn't. Dude, I don't think people realize that. You have no idea how much stress a person like you takes off. Someone like me has no fucking clue how to do claims or how to go through the process. The survivor. You know, do you have if you could, I'd love to hear, I mean, what's a great feel good story do you have any from, I'm hoping you do, but you know, because you have no idea how much you help. You're helping just as much as being the number 2 man coming in and covering the number 1 man on the door. I mean, that's essentially what you are, dude. You're the 2 man covering everybody's 6 when after you fall that 1 man in and he misses the guy, guys you pop in the room. Because I don't realize that shit is hard. It's I don't know how to do it. I need help. I have to go find help to still do claims today. And luckily there's more assets. But yeah, give me a story, man, if you could from that. If you haven't, if not, no sweat.
Yeah, there's been a few that I've been absolutely like blown away. Like I had a guy, oh man, basically about 2 weeks after I got cleared hot, fully accredited, guy came in. He was, you know, an older 91-year-old guy.
Wow.
With his wife and his older daughter, and he breaks out this little folder that's got these like carbon copy DD-214s, like the little, and I'm like, what is this? And I start looking at it, 1952, 1950, like old school. Like he was in the Korean War as a Marine infantry guy. He did 1 tour in Korea, 2 tours in Vietnam, and he comes in and he's pretty much coherent. I mean, you could definitely tell he's got a little bit of dementia, and he's really trying to hold on to the memories, but he's just happy to still be alive. And I'm like, God, I might. And he we ended up able to get him for the very first time right out the gate. We took him from nothing to 100%. Got him
Wow.
got him up there, and they backdated him because a lot of it was Agent Orange, so they backdated it to early 2022. So he got not a ton of money, but to him, I mean, it was life-changing. It was oh man, I don't know, 50 or 60,000 back pay at 91 years old. And like they come back in, and the him, his daughter, his wife come in, and they want to discuss the form, like what it all means and what benefits do they have now. And they're paying property tax, which is ungodly right now, but being at 100% now, they don't have to worry about that anymore because it's tax exempt now. Now he's getting $4,000 extra a month that they never had coming in. They've got this big lump sum of money coming in, and I'm just like, man. And the wife was in tears. She's like, I don't even know what to do with this 40,000. She's like, I don't know what to do with it. And she's in tears. And I'm like, God, you know what? And that's what makes the job worth it, because there's so many companies out there that, God bless them or whatever, but and thankfully there's a law being passed currently, and hopefully it gets passed, to prevent them from charging veterans to do claims, because these people were charging 30% of the difference of claims. And these people come in and they're like, I just spent $2,000 on this lawyer who said he was going to do this claim for me. And
are you kidding? There are people I had no idea. Are you shitting me?
All over the United States, on average, they start out with a $900 retainer, and then they make them sign a contract, usually between 20 and 30% of the difference. So let's say you went from 80 to 100, I don't know, whatever, we'll say $2,000, and you get $30,000 in back pay. They're going to get 25% of the back pay in that difference for 1 month just to do the claim. And I tell people all the time, I was like, don't even think about paying me a dime. Like my time, I get paid for doing this job through the county. It's a county position. That's all I need. I mean, I can have them in and out in on average, if it's a real difficult claim, at like an hour and 15 minutes.
Wow.
That's it. And I was like, there's no way anyone could justify that their time is worth $20,000 an hour. Like, I mean, no one.
I always thought, I went through the DAV, and then they gave me, I guess it would have been called a VSO, a veteran service officer at the time, but it was something else. And it was the guy that worked at the job for it was back then. I'm old as hell, dude. But aren't you guys always available? Because I didn't have to pay a dime. He was a government employee. He was not through the disabled job service. Is who he was through, job service. So they sent me to job service because I was trying to figure out how I was going to pay for things. And he's like, well, I'm also a veteran. You served, and I handle claims. Are there not just veteran assistance officers out there to help you do what about claims and benefits through the VHA, through the Veterans Health Administration? Do they not help do that anymore? Or you have to go through an outside source? Because that's bullshit. That's complete bullshit.
No, they don't have to. Right now, the VA and the DAV, unfortunately, are on a like a revolving door. They don't. If you go see one DAV person, you come back 2 weeks later, you're going to see a different person. Okay. There's no case management at all. And they're backed up about 6 months. The VA is backed up about 6 months for appointments. But for us, I can usually get someone in about a week and a half. And how we do it is, if you start with one of us, you're going to finish with one of us. That's it. So we do a case management. So there's a continuity. The problem is, a lot of people do the claims themselves, and this is what we ask people in those briefs not to do. You know, everyone's smart enough to do the claim. There's no question about it. But there's so much little verbiage, and if you put one date wrong, or if you put a word that's not physically written in your medical book, bam, there's the VA's way of denying it. And you know, we get these people in on their 5th denial, and they're like, oh, you know, I keep getting denied because I keep submitting the same crap to the VA. And I'm like, well, weird, because they're just denying the same stuff. And then they go out and they spend $3,000+ at these vultures, as I call them, attorneys, because they think, oh, I can hire an attorney. They guarantee me 100%, or they guarantee me this. And I tell them all the time, I was like, if you don't have it in your service book, or if you don't have it from your doctor saying this was caused by something related to your service, God himself's not going to get you 100%. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And this is one of the, like, God, most rewarding. And one more that I think is the Korean War guy was awesome. And he told me, I'm just here because I want my wife covered when I die. Eventually, I want her covered under the benefits. And I'm just like, I was like, God, I mean, how do you even answer that kind of thing?
Yeah. Right.
Lady came in, and she was about to hire a lawyer who was going to charge her $3,000 to do a survivor claim. And I said, please tell me you didn't pay this person. And she's like, well, they said that they're going to get all the medical records that I need. And I was like, okay. I said, do you have the death certificate? Yeah, it's right here. I was like, okay. Looked at it, hypertension, diabetes, Agent Orange, easy. He was service connected for the stuff. I was like, do you have the burial receipt? Yeah, it's right here. I was like, okay, we're done. And boom, here comes the waterworks. I'm like, shit. But her husband had been gone since 2017. She's had a stroke. I mean, just a whole myriad of things gone wrong. Her house burnt down due to firework. I mean, just this poor lady had just a beating of stuff. And we were able to do the claim. And it was back to 2017 when he passed away, because she was getting his Social Security. We were able to retro it all the way back to 2017. Got her back pay of $175,000.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's, and it's for those out there that think that it's well worth it, if not even more so, with the stuff you go through and the shit that everybody, you've earned it. People that serve earned it, earned every penny. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says that hasn't served. Especially those back pay, because that I got back paid on mine because I didn't even know I qualified for it. That's the thing. Nobody told us anything. I didn't know I qualified. Yeah, I'm hurt. We're all hurt. Everybody gets hurt. What is it in your records? Well, yeah, some of it is, but you know, back in the day too, Marines, if you're in infantry or you're in special ops, you don't go. Yeah, you don't go to the doctor. You don't go to see your unless the leg is broken and it's hanging on by a freaking tendon. You don't go. So you just wrap it up. And you, so what do you see with that? Because I'm a lot of guys that you did, because I think the younger generation, they've learned, not that I do think we are getting weaker every generation. The greatest generation is a lot stronger than my generation. And so I do believe that. I just think that's just genetic. I think that's in the genes. But I think the younger generation has gotten smarter, that they do go to sick call more. Maybe they don't. I don't know. I haven't been in a while. But you know, the past generations, like the 91-year-old, I guarantee you he didn't tell his wife made him come in. I guarantee it's like, we should do it. Like, yeah, problem. But do you, how do you help those guys that have been hurt? I got lucky. I had a little thing in there about my knee. And he's like, Airborne Ranger, you got your jump log? Yeah, here's my jump log. Okay, we got you. You got a little bit in your knee. We'll take care of you. And I did. I got some disability. But you just said, if it's not in your records, and a lot of times that shit wasn't in our records because it wasn't cool to go to sick call. You don't do that. So how do you help them? Or can you? Or you just pretty much hosed? If like you said, God yourself can't get you. Or is there a way that maybe we can go around God a little bit to get those disabilities? Because I bet there's a ton of people out there listening to this right now. They're like, Dan, how do I do that? I should have went to sick call. I didn't. That wasn't the manly thing to do at the time. Can you still help me? What do you do?
And for the people who are on active duty, because I was that way all the way from the beginning to 2014 when I started the med board process. My thing was like the annual checkups that you had to go through.
Yeah.
It was paper thin. Once I got out and I had to go through all these appointments, it's boxes full of crap. So for the ones that are still in, we try and get in front of, about a year out, because they're actually making them go through the initial TAP briefing, separation brief a year out. So they have to, like, they're starting really early. So we go in there and we tell them, like, it's no longer, you're not re-enlisting, you're not deploying, you're not getting promoted, you're not any of that stuff. You need to now take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself and get the stuff annotated, when that door slams, the machine keeps rolling and you're going to be left in the street.
So on that ACAP physical, we call it ACAP, and when you're you go, that's how I got mine in there. My buddies, they said my command, I had a great commander. He was tremendous. Captain, I had tremendous commander. Right? They're like, you tell them everything that you haven't said the last 3 years. You you go through everything that hurt you, because keep going. I'm sorry. I just brought back a memory right quick at Fort Lewis.
We tell them, like, head to toe, if you need to go every 3 weeks, go every 3 weeks. And a lot of people that we have to tell as well is stop treating yourself over the counter with Walgreens, CVS, stuff like that. It's annoying, but go get, especially if you're on active duty, go get a prescription from the doc. That way you have record, because we can't submit receipts from CVS. Like, we just can't. But for the guys who are out, hopefully the doctors are not, but I've heard doctors are charging up to $600 for these things. They're called Nexus letters. And if you have a doctor who will do it, which they should do it for free, there's no reason they should charge, but regardless, they do. A Nexus letter is something that the doctors will give their medical opinion saying lower back, this degenerative, whatever thing that every person in the world probably has, is a direct result of being in the military. One sentence with a medical diagnosis, not just, I think it might be, because sometimes they'll write, I think it might be this due to, whatever, multiple deployments. But if they will write due to time in service, it's the scarlet letter. It's checking the box, because the VA is not going to have their doctors question another doctor saying, oh, we're better than you. Because now we got a Supreme Court issue and the VA is broke. Or they're not broke, but the VA doesn't want to get into that kind of legal argument. So a Nexus letter is vital. So I guess the answer to that, Chris, is if it's not in the record book, if they see their doctor and their doctor's right, this injury is due to their time in service, or is more likely than not their time in service, it's a done deal. It's the easiest claim in the world, because then it's the VA can't say, well, it might, it may be the old age, or it's almost like a having something related to Agent Orange. It's an automatic. It's 30 days. It's less than 30 days to get those approved. If we know someone they have the diagnosis in their record, they have to have a diagnosis. They can't just say, oh, I think I have migraines. Well, I have migraines on a daily basis. But as long as it's diagnosed, and if they have proof that they were in Vietnam or they were in Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever, a burn pit area, boom, presumptive. It's a presumptive condition, takes 30 days to get approved, and it's done. That's
cool. I mean, that's cool.
You're doing a great service, man. And but I do want people to definitely pick up the book here, just because I know we're on limited time, but it is great. Amazon really is the best place for people to get it, right? The new book.
Yeah, Amazon right now is definitely the best place. It's super
self-published. Yeah,
self-published. It's $9.99. It's if you're Amazon Prime, free shipping. It's super quick. It comes. I definitely wanted to put in all the colorful photos. So
yeah,
it's,
they're great.
So it's marine proof. We can like sit there and flip through the photos. It's like a kid's book. And it's like you said, it's a super fast read. There's not a lot of them in there, but it's and I've heard some great comments so far. Not every single one hits home with somebody, but there's different ones that hit home. And, people have been like, "Dang," like that one reading it, and now it starts to get their mind working and things like that. So it's been definitely really rewarding.
It's awesome, man. So
Yeah,
once again,
it
it's
is.
Terror to Triumph 2, Darkness to Light. And then if you want to pick up the full book, the first book, Terror to Triumph. And then I should say, if you want to pick up the t-shirt of this badass cover, right? They're still on Grunt Style, because it is a great cover. And
did Grunt Style pay? Are they giving your residuals for those t-shirts? If not, you motherfuckers, give them some residuals for those damn t-shirts. Are they? Tell me they are, Chris. Oh, you sons of bitches at Grunt Style. I swear you just like Black Rifle Coffee and everybody else. Just
wait, what's the deal with that? Because I just saw that you had a shirt through Grunt Style.
And they should. You should be getting money for that. What the hell, Grunt Style? Take care of your own. Son of a.
And I ended up having to do which I didn't have to do this, but I decided to roll it into a like a fundraiser where it went to like DAV or different things to help support.
Okay, so they did give some. Okay, so I feel like a shithead now. Okay, my bad. I take it all back.
It was like $4 a shirt. I mean, it was super super low cut, but I mean that's fine. And unfortunately though, Ian, I have to share the bad news. It is no longer on Grunt Style because
okay, it was just like a limited edition run, right?
Yeah, it was a limited edition run. However, comma, the Grunt Style, I wanted to work with them. I wanted to work with Under Armour. They said deuces. They didn't want to play, so I'm like, okay, whatever. So my wife's envision for this is going to be to open up a private practice under this thing, and I'm also creating some new shirts with this logo, and they're going to be out soon. We started up an LLC under the book Terror to Triumph.
It is a great cover. They always say don't judge a book by its cover, but I did with this one because of the fact that like Chris and I get sent so many books. Then when I saw this, it piqued my interest, and that's why I was originally like, we got to have this guy on. So and of course your background, just reading that, I was like, this would be a great guest. So it's at USMC 9550 on all social media, USMC 9550. And yeah, man, I mean, I think hopefully this inspired some people and maybe even gave them some solutions to issues that they're facing. So definitely an honor having you on for the second time, man.
Yeah, buddy.
It
Was Chris. So are you're going to start doing your own merchandise and then having your own website? Is that what so when you get that, give it to us and we'll get it out there for you as best we can. And to our, because I do, I think by merchandise, I think just like everybody else out there, some of the bigger companies that are veteran, I think they're turning into a lot just like Apple and Samsung and everybody. They get a lot of mileage off us for very, very little. And I really do. I think that's the best way to do it if you can, is just have control of it, whether you maybe not have the reach that some of those bigger companies do because they just hit it at the right time. You have control and success depends on you and you can put stuff out there without having somebody else taking your ends. And so please do, Brian, because I think that t-shirt was pretty badass. I thought it was awesome. And anything else you put out there, I'm sure you're pretty talented. I don't have that sort of that talent that you have, man, as far as just art and being able to write and the images.
You've written 3 books though.
I can do it pretty good, but not do poems. That's talent, man. That's like a songwriter. I mean, to me, I can't rhyme shit, dude. I can't rhyme right now. I'm trying to think of something to rhyme with now, and I can't think of anything. So I do admire you, brother, and what you're doing right now for the veterans. That is huge. Having had to go through that myself, of filing a claim after the fact, and the stress that it caused until finally I did find somebody that says I can help you, and it did. It took him an hour. That's something I couldn't do for 10 years. That's a huge deal. And man, those stories you just told, those are awesome, man. Those made the podcast for me, especially the both stories. They're just amazing. So you're still doing it, man. You're still a hero out there. And I love your faith in God, and I love you. I love those crosses behind you. That's excuse me, God, forgive me, but that's fucking awesome. I love that. I love it.
Although I did say to him, I felt like I was like doing a podcast in a church or something. When I was looking at him, but that's what it looks like to me. But no, man, I appreciate it, and thanks for coming on. And yeah, appreciate it, man.
No, absolutely. Thank you again. It's always huge to hang out with you guys and talk. And if anyone is needing of assistance, and I try and tell everyone this: do not pay a dime to have a claim done. There's so many free resources out there. I'm on all the social media stuff. If you have a question and you're listening to this, shoot me a message. I'll be more than happy. Even if you don't want to use me to help you do it, I'll walk you through the process. It's nothing but 10 minutes to type up a thing. It's not a big deal. So please feel free to ask away, ask any questions you may have. All the social media sites, definitely not hard to find. But yeah,
Take care,
great
buddy.
seeing y'all.
You too, bro.
Thank
I'll
you,
talk to
Chris.
you later,
Appreciate
man.
it, man.
That's all for this episode of Battle Line Podcast. But we're always posting new content on social media. Follow us on Instagram at Battleline Podcast and on Twitter at Battleline Pod. That's an order. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes up every Tuesday. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast platform of choice. Believe in yourself. Face all challenges head on. And as always, never quit.